Good evening and welcome to Channel 8 Sports and East Brunswick High School football. Hi, I'm John Meggiolaro, being joined by Jim Allinder and Phil Hill tonight at Woodbridge, where the Bears travel to take on the Barons. Jimmy, last week we saw East Brunswick take on Piscataway. Didn't look very good. Some things we kind of expected, some others we didn't.
And that was the key. We did know coming into the season that East Brunswick would have its problems on the offensive line, and I think that's sort of borne out in the first two games. Barnell Johnson, to his credit, has been a fantastic running back, accumulating over 200 yards in the first two games, but he's been the only offense for East Brunswick, and I think a lot has to do with the fact that he really doesn't have a lot of experienced blockers in front of him. That can work itself out. Now, on the other side of the ball, we also kind of thought that there might be some problems with the secondary, and East Brunswick has been burned a couple of times, especially if a runner has been able to get into the secondary. They've been able to outdistance a lot of the secondary people. What has been a surprise, in my estimation, has been the pressure that we thought that the East Brunswick defensive line could put on opposing quarterbacks. To a degree, it hasn't been there, and I think that has been a major problem. The quarterbacks for Piscataway and also for Cherokee in the opening game have had too much room to run around, make the handoffs. The kind of defense we're used to seeing with East Brunswick is pressure type, and that's, I think, going to be a key, because tonight you got a quarterback on the Woodbridge side that Phil will talk about, who arguably is the best passer in the GMC. So East Brunswick has to put defensive pressure on in addition to be able to score some points.
Quickly, before I turn to Phil in Woodbridge, is this a big game for East Brunswick?
It has to be. East Brunswick is 0-2. I can't remember the last time East Brunswick was 0-2 to start the season. They need to get a win under their belt, if for nothing else, to get some confidence, because next week is Edison.
Yeah.
So it's a big game.
Well, let me turn here now to Phil and Woodbridge. They lost a tough one to Edison last week.
Lost a tough one to Edison, and Mike Salento simply said Edison is probably the best team in the county. He doesn't expect them to lose again this year. No shame in losing to Edison. Of course, they're back here on this field. They lost to East Brunswick last year, 38-17 in East Brunswick, but they got good memories in 1989. John, you may remember Watergate or Sprinklergate, whatever you want to call it, the night the sprinklers were left on all night and the field was muddy and slowed down. So he has good memories here. He feels pretty good about this game. He, of course, as Jimmy pointed out, he probably has the best passing quarterback in the county, Chris Kobalakowicz. I'm going to have fun saying that all night. And he's got a fine receiver in Jason Moorman, number 17, who's been around for 3 years, and a fine running back, Maurice Barton, who developed last year in the Thanksgiving Day game against Kennedy with 130 yards. Mike Salento is feeling pretty good, pretty confident. He says his offensive line is young also, but he feels they're going to grow.
Well, it should be a good one. A big game for East Brunswick. They come in 0-2, Woodbridge 0-1, but Woodbridge is home tonight and a good crowd here. So we'll be back with start of the action in just a moment. Well, we welcome you back to tonight's East Brunswick-Woodbridge game. You see the captains at the center of the field waiting for the coin toss. We mentioned it, a big game for East Brunswick, 0-2 coming in. And Jimmy, you know, I've been racking my brain today as well. I can't remember the last time an East Brunswick team was 0-2 at this point.
I was afraid to ask Marcus Borden that. I can tell. I don't think it was during any reign that he had. I know the first year, 1982, if I remember correctly, or 83, he did have a 4-5 season. It wasn't a great season, and then of course the good seasons came, and then there was that interlude about 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, where the Bears did finish 4-5.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
So, but I was just going to mention, I can't remember an 0-2 start for quite a long time.
Well, we'll see if East Brunswick changes anything on offense, because they'll receive the ball to start the game. And Phil, you know, we've often talked about matchups. How would you say Woodbridge and East Brunswick match up?
I say quite even, but with different strength. Woodbridge's strength is in the passing game, and the Bears, obviously, with Barnell Johnson on the ground.
And Jimmy, you talked about that secondary. I'm sure they're going to be tested tonight.
They will, but if East Brunswick can put on the defensive pressure, and I understand that Borden is going to try a couple of things. We're going to have to watch for that to see if Kobalakowicz can be pressured into making the pass that he doesn't want to. And they do have a superior receiver that Phil mentioned, number 17, Jason Moorman. He has a unique ability to get open, and he does have good speed. He can run with the ball after he's caught it. So he's going to have to watch for some of those breakaway passes that East Brunswick gave away last week against Piscataway.
Do you expect anything differently on offense for East Brunswick?
Only that the offensive line continues to improve in its blocking and give more room to Farnell Johnson. Hopefully to see some more from Eric Phillips also. We haven't seen as much running as we'd like to see from him this year.
Well, Phillips is back deep to receive the kick with Farnell Johnson. And Woodbridge ready to get this game underway. Paul Perry kicks it on the ground and fallen on by Dave Christensen, and East Brunswick will have fairly good field position at about their own 41-yard line.
And I tell you, you really can't blame the Barons with Phillips and Varnell Johnson back there. Two speed merchants can take it at any time, and Mike Salento's selecting to go with the sure thing.
Let me correct myself. The ball is spotted at the East Brunswick 31-yard line.
Phillips ran back the second half kickoff in the opening game against Cherokee.
Barrick is quarterbacking. We mentioned that Neary is still out with a shoulder problem. And Neary still on his feet, and a fumble.
It's Woodbridge.
Wow.
And it is Woodbridge's ball, and boy, that's not how you want to start off.
Exactly. Looks like Varick made the errant toss after he was hit, and it just went right into Woodbridge's hands.
And I'll tell you, John, you said it, not a way you want to start the game. Of course, last week, the Bears started the game with Piscataway taking the first play up from scrimmage all the way, and here they find themselves in an ominous position as well.
Well, we'll see what this offense of Woodbridge can bring to bear. Kobalakowicz is the quarterback, number 14, and as Phil mentioned, a very proficient passer. In the background, he has Barton. Single setback. Kobalakowicz looks. He's looking downfield. He's got a man fighting the end zone, and a reception is made. A great catch by Jason Moorman.
They called it a touchdown, and it looks like they're taking it back, John.
It's on the 1.
I thought he was down on the 1.
I think that's where they're going to spot it. Phil, you have to be impressed by the way Kobalakowicz dropped back. He is quick.
Well, we said it at the top of the game. He's probably the finest passing quarterback in the county, and he just laid it up there very nicely. Give Jason Moorman some credit himself because he outfought the defender for the ball.
I believe he went over Phillips's back. Is that so, Phil?
That's correct. Phillips will be playing Jason Moorman one-on-one all night. Marcus Borden told me. He may have to change that before too long.
The ball is spotted at the East Brunswick 1. First and goal. And a face mask was called against East Brunswick. The penalty was declined. I didn't even see a flag, tell you the truth.
It was over there, and it could have been on the on Kobalakowicz being face masked after the throw.
And again, we mentioned the first play from scrimmage 2 weeks in a row, and it just puts you in a hole right off the bat. It's got to hurt.
All right, the Barons will have 4 shots at it. They come in I formation. Barton is the deep back. He's got the ball. And he's in, and Woodbridge is on the board. 10:49 in the first period.
Didn't take long.
And Maurice Barton scoring for the Barons. And Maurice, you remember his brother last year, Marvin Barton, who gave the Bears fits 2 years ago. And Maurice picking up where his older brother Marvin left off.
I believe Paul Perry, number 19, will try the extra point. Snap is good, and a kick is through. And so Woodbridge takes an early 7-0 lead.
2 weeks in a row, Phil mentioned, East Brunswick gets nailed on the opening play as they're on defense, and wow.
And I'll tell you, Jim, it's only the 3rd game of the year, and it's, you know, people like to talk about character early, but I tell you, this is the time where we're going to find out it could make or break their season.
Absolutely.
And people like to throw that term around a lot, but I really believe how they respond here could make or break their season. If they're not able to come back from this here, they could have an extremely long season. If they can battle back, get back in the game, and make a game of it,
who knows, right?
Who knows?
Right.
And of course, it's early. I mean, they've only had one offensive play, but again, as we point out, the 2nd week in a row where they've just found themselves behind by 7 points before a minute drops off the clock.
Well, to be fair to the offense, they've only had the ball for that one lone fumble that they lost, so we'll see if they can crank it into gear.
Well, I've got to think about that defensive team. Piscataway kind of ran the ball up and down on him, controlled the game, basically, and here, 2 offensive plays, and Woodbridge is on the board. So Perry will kick it off, and I don't think you'll see it up in the air. And it won't be. Christensen at the 40, and he'll get across the 45 to the 46-yard line.
And I tell you, Christensen had a hole there for a while. I thought he was going to pop through it.
Kind of makes you wonder the strategy of keeping it away from Phillips.
Nope, I think Mike Salentil saw the films. He knows that they can take it all away. He's not going to. He's going to take what they give him and not give them anything by putting that ball out there in their hands. I think probably a smart move.
Barrick will bring him out. E-bone formation. 1st and 10 from their own 46. The Bears on offense. Phillips in motion right. This is a pitch to Johnson. He's got the right side. Turns it upfield. Picks up maybe a yard. Woodbridge closing very quickly.
And Mike Salentil well aware of Vernell Johnson. Talked to him earlier, and he says, asked him what he had to do, and he says, shut down Vernell Johnson. He says, Vernell can break one at any time. They're just going to try to contain him. Did a good job of containing him right there.
Right, but Mormon, the one that caught that long pass, was also the one that made the tackle. He's a free safety playing back.
2nd and 9 for the Bears. Varick rolls to his left, being pressured, and he's going to be dropped for a loss.
Boy, that had problem written on it all from the get-go. I think Varick had some trouble getting a grasp on that ball. That caused him to sort of do a double take, and that was enough for the Woodbridge defense to get in and cause the loss.
I'll tell you, though, but his receiver, Brian Cavelli, number 4, you got to come back to the ball when you see your quarterback in trouble. You can't just hang out there in the flat. You got to come back towards the ball.
3rd and 14, the ball back at the East Brunswick 41-yard line. Barrick straight back, dumps a little pass into Johnson, and not much there, maybe 2 yards, and East Brunswick's going to have to punt.
I'll tell you, the Bears are well scouted. I mean, Mike Salentil seemingly knows exactly what the Bears are going to do, and defense has played it well.
Well, that thing went for nothing, that pass. So, I don't know, at the 45-yard line, I assume you're going to punt here.
No, it looks like Varick is going to do the punting as well.
Yeah. He's been getting off those low-line drives that seem to carry well.
The kick is low. Mormon fields it. Still on his feet, and he'll get to his own 30. And Phil, we were talking about East Brunswick a moment ago in sense of whether they come back, it can make their season or not. This game's very important for Woodbridge. They got Edison out of the way, albeit it's a loss. They beat East Brunswick. They may be doing some things here this year.
Well, they finished last year 5-3-1, John. A good season for the Barons, and they want to carry that over. They know they were overmatched against Edison, and probably any team Edison plays will be overmatched. What really scares me for East Brunswick is that Kablakowicz passed for over 200-something yards against Edison last week, and admittedly, he was chased all over the field.
I formation for the Barons. 2 receivers to the left. Look like motion, and yet they're going to call it against Woodbridge. Looked like Barton started a little bit soon.
And again, I like to amplify my point. Here's a quarterback that was pressured mercifully last week, all sorts of pressure, and he still managed to pass for over 200-something yards. So if he doesn't have quite as much pressure on him this week, and you saw from that first play, he didn't seem to have too much, he could have a field day.
5 yards marked off against Woodbridge. It's 1st and 15. Ball sitting just over the 25-yard line of Woodbridge. They stay in that I formation. Barton takes the pitch, cuts back upfield, has got an opening.
Nice run.
Picks up about, let's say, 12 yards.
And I tell you, he got an assist from the official. If that official wasn't in the way, I think he probably would have hit to the outside and took off.
Barton brings it up to the Woodbridge 38-yard line. 2nd and about 2.
They get 13 of that back. Boy, there was a gaping hole in the middle.
Kovalakowicz Again to Barton. He's stopped this time. In fact, he may lose a few yards. So big third down for the Bears on defense.
And you had Wolfskill and Szymanski in there. And Dixon as well.
We have 6:45 remaining here in the first period. Woodbridge out on top, 7-0. East Brunswick comes in 0-2, Woodbridge 0-1.
And, 34, Christensen as well.
Woodbridge stays in that I formation. Kovalakowicz, it's being pressured.
Boy, he drops back quick.
Drops the ball, but recovers it. And that'll bring up a 4th down.
All right.
I'll tell you again, Mark Wolfskill putting on good pressure there. And
came from the outside. He wasn't coming in through the middle, Phil, I noticed. So they are doing a lot of stunning, the linebackers.
Well, Marcus Borden said at the top of the game as well that you can expect his Bear team to put an awful lot of pressure on the Barons, that he'll be sending people from everywhere, and he just did it just then.
You talk about an important defensive series. That was it. I think East Brunswick really needed to assert themselves defensively.
Well, here's the punt by Woodbridge, and they can't put it on the ground here. High punt. Johnson signals fair catch, and East Brunswick will let it go. And the ball will come to rest at the East Brunswick 40. So again, good field position.
I'll tell you how things started in this series for the Bears to end up on the 40 in possession of the ball. They're very fortunate.
Yeah, understandably, Phillips was a little hesitant about catching that ball. He did call for a fair catch, but let it bounce. We know that he had a couple of problems last week with fumbles on punts.
1st and 10 for the Bears. Ball spotted right at their own 40. Varick gives it inside to Johnson. And Phil, it looks like they have 6 guys keying on Johnson.
Everybody's keying on Johnson. The Bears came out and as tight a wishbone as I've seen in a long time. They were awfully close together and awfully close to the line. Johnson working out of that fullback slot, and just a quick dive there. But as you pointed out, John, they're right on him.
No gain. Let's call it 2nd and 10.
We see Varela at one of the running back spots along with Phillips, so Johnson is in the fullback position again.
Phillips in motion. Quick pitch to Johnson. He's going to put it up in the air. He's got a man open. Wow. It's caught.
Is he going to go all the way? That's Mormon.
Rob Cartwright.
Well, they caught him by surprise. That's the best way to, if they're keen on Johnson, that's the best way to wreck that up, Phil.
You're exactly right, Jimmy. The defense came in to close down on Johnson, and Cartwright was wide open. Nice pass by Johnson. Cartwright pulled it in nicely and took off.
So East Brunswick on a big play is inside the Woodbridge 10, and it'll be 1st and goal. Looking to tie it with 4:30 left here in the first quarter.
50-yard pass play. And Cartwright goes out of the game.
Back into that E-bone formation. Varick to Johnson, hole on the right side, quickly closed.
These are the tough yards.
Phil, I think they're going to have to open it up a little bit.
Well, based on that play they did previously, they probably are, John. They realize that most of the defense is keen on Vernell, so you can expect some things. I wouldn't be surprised to see a play with Phillips coming up here.
No gain. The ball's at the 6-yard line. So 2nd down for East Brunswick. Ball fumble.
Boy, and Varela got a break there. He fumbled the ball actually forward, and it's about around the 4-yard line, so he ended up getting 2 yards on that.
Well, they certainly tried to go to a different player that time, Varela, and as you pointed out, the exchange just wasn't that clean.
And they pick up a yard, so it's 3rd and 5 from the 5. East Brunswick needs a score to tie this game. Woodbridge on top, 7-0. Varick inside, I believe it's Phillips. We take that back, it was Johnson.
Straight up the middle, and Woodbridge was waiting for them.
Well, it's 4th down, gentlemen.
What do you do? An official's timeout.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, whether they would go for this on 4th down. I think Marcus Borden wants to have a little time to make a decision. He's asking the official, I assume, whether or not he can get a first down, but arguing about something, John. Not quite sure why.
Quite honestly, the ball marker has not moved in 4 downs, and I think he's questioning whether, in fact, they gained any yardage.
Well, it's where the ball's spotted that counts.
Also, there appears to be a number of people hanging around, and I think Mark is having a hard time seeing where that ball is exactly placed.
You got a point about that. Too many people seemingly hanging around that marker.
Phil, you made a point about a tight wishbone that they're. I noticed that also.
Right.
They really, if Johnson's going to make use of his ability to get around the ends, he has to start from a deep back position and utilize his speed.
Exactly.
He can't do it this way.
So a timeout has been called on the field. I'm not sure if it was charged to East Brunswick or not.
Well, we're going to assume it is, simply because they're the ones that really need to decide what they want to do here. I think Woodbridge pretty much knows what it has to do.
It's 4th and 3. East Brunswick needs 3 yards to get their first score of the evening.
Boy, this is chancy here. I don't know.
Well, here it is, Jim. You be the quarterback. You be the coach.
I'd rather be the kicker in this situation.
I think I'm going to call this play.
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be Varick with the keep sweeping.
Okay.
You mean the option?
Right.
Well, we'll see. Varick, first of all, has to get under center. There he goes. He sprints left, puts it up in the end zone.
Oh, wow.
And wide. He was looking for
number 2.
Number 2, that's Mike Mathis.
Right. Mathis was open, and the ball was just a little bit overthrown. Not a little bit, a lot of bit overthrown.
Well, the Bears took the gamble, didn't go for the 3, and can't say you can argue with them right there. They want to get a score.
Well, that was a motivation downfield. They were looking for the score to get this team back up. Really, while they didn't come away with any points, they have Woodbridge on their own 3-yard line. Kovalakowicz calling signals. Inside, that's Barton, quick opener.
Johnson with the tackle there.
Crosses the 5 to the 6.
And what a fine tackle by Varnell. Varnell came into this game with 44 tackles, averaging 22 per game.
That's right. Let's face it, Phil, he's doing kind of everything out there. Running, tackling. Really just a tremendous all-purpose player. He really stuffed what could have been a big gainer, and really they only got 3 yards out of that.
2nd and 7 for the Barons. Again, Barton. And a flag, there may be a face mask there.
I can see that one.
A late flag coming in as Barton got up close to the first down. Blocking below the waist against Woodbridge is the call.
And I have to think that in the direction that was thrown over top of the tackler that was on the far side of the field, that's where the official caught it.
So now it's Marcus Borden's decision.
Oh, yeah.
Take the penalty or take the down.
This is a tough call. They do have 3rd
And
they're going to take the penalty. That'll move them back to the 5-yard line.
Okay, Marcus is thinking he wants to create some action here and maybe maybe calls the turnover there, and he got a quick score.
So it's 2nd and about 8 when Woodbridge comes over the ball.
I'll tell you the thing about it, if you gamble on defense here, it can cost you.
2:10 remaining in the quarter, first quarter. Woodbridge on top, 7-0. 2 receivers wide left, and Woodbridge calls a timeout. A little confusion.
Single coverage with Moorman. Phil, I guess that's about the only thing you can do. They're spreading about 3 receivers wide.
Well, we saw the first offensive play of the game for the Barons. Moorman had single coverage on him and
that was a tremendous catch that he made,
took advantage of it.
Yeah. I think Phillips had good position on it. He just was outmaneuvered.
I think he jumped a little soon, and he was coming down when Moorman was going up.
And you take a good look at Mike Salento down there, and Mike Salento might be called the all-county coach simply because he's been everywhere, John. Let's see, he spent 3 years at Perth Amboy, 4 years at Metuchen, He was an assistant at Woodbridge, assistant at Kennedy, assistant at Linden, and also quarterback at Colonia. So he's got to be an all-county coach. He's been everywhere.
He's the only guy I know that's had more jobs than you.
He holds on to him.
Oh, Lord.
All right, time is called back in. 2 minutes remaining, first quarter. We're at Presco Field here in Woodbridge. East Brunswick trailing 7-0. And a big 2nd and 8 for the Barons.
And they got trips to the right, John.
Ball is at the Woodbridge 5-yard line. Kovalakowicz hits his man
Good
quickly.
tackle.
Johnson again, the tackler.
Chris Stephen was the receiver, number 27.
And Jimmy, we talked about it time and time again. College scouts that may be looking at Johnson, as good as he performs offensively, he is a defensive player, a defensive back, no doubt about it.
Big 3rd down now for both teams. Ball spotted at the Woodbridge 11. It'll be 3rd and let's say 3, maybe 4.
And you know Kobalakowicz is going to put it up.
He might come back with that play.
No, he gives it inside to Barton.
I don't think they got it.
They may be short. We'll see where they spot it.
I'll tell you, surprising call.
It is. It's very unimaginative in that situation.
And they're going to say it's 4th down. They're not going to bring the chains out.
Very surprising call by Mike Salento there. With the arm that Kobalakowicz has, you just had to believe he's going to put up a short pass. And no, they went for it on the ground, and as you can see.
Give credit to the East Brunswick defense for being alert enough.
You're exactly right, Jim.
2 series now, they've hung in tough.
So they're going to get the ball in decent field position, and they're going to have to kick it to Phillips or Johnson this time.
Kirk will do the punting this time. Phillips and Johnson are back for East Brunswick. Snap is low.
Boy, look where they're kicking it,
And
too.
Kirk kicked it straight up. East Brunswick should move away from that thing. And they do, and they'll have field position in Woodbridge territory when they take over.
Boy, that ball was purposely punted in Phillips' side. They didn't even want to have any part of it. Varnell Johnson running the ball back.
Clock running down to 24 seconds in the first period, in the first quarter. So East Brunswick will have excellent field position. The ball at the Woodbridge 41-yard line.
And if you're a Bear fan, you got to be pretty pleased that where you are right now and how things have turned out since that first offensive play.
Barrick and Cartwright are to the right. Phillips in motion left.
Looks like Varela has it.
Varela on the carry.
And that's just what you call a keep them honest carry. You know, you gotta let them know that you will do something else besides give it to Johnson.
Well, they pretty much held Varnell Johnson. He's only had about 5 or 6 yards in the whole first quarter.
And that play there ends the first quarter. And our score, Woodbridge 7, East Brunswick nothing, but East Brunswick will have a 2nd and 10 and good field position as they start this second quarter.
Yeah, Varick's going to have to try to do something about getting another pass completion. I think we got to mention that tackle by Jason Moorman saved a touchdown. So he's already caught a pass that almost resulted in a touchdown, set up Woodbridge for its first score, and then by playing free safety, he was able to make that touchdown-saving tackle. So he's been the star so far.
And as you see Marcus Borden out there, I asked him about his team, and he says how he felt about the team. He says, hey, what can I say? The guys have not given up. They've been playing steady ball. We're going to get some breaks sooner or later, but he sees some improvement, and his young fellows have to develop. That's all.
Right. You know, I'll tell you what, from a coaching standpoint, that's all you can ask for from a team. If they're down record-wise, and if they've played hard and not given up, then you have something to coach.
That's right. All right, here we go, 2nd and 10. Let's call 2nd and 9. Ball at the Woodbridge 40. Johnson.
No, that was okay. Well,
weaves
nice
his
carry.
way, and he'll pick up about 5 yards.
That was Phillips, John.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought. It was Eric Phillips. That's his first carry of the game.
And you like to see that because it's got to create some balance there.
Another important 3rd down play.
Let's call it 3rd and long 5. Barrett keeps, goes around his left side.
Oops.
He drops the ball, I believe.
Did he lose it? Son of a gun.
He did, and Woodbridge has it.
Second time Barrett has fumbled the ball.
I'll tell you, he took a vicious shot and just gave it up.
Well, I think Jimmy's going to have to learn that when he's carrying that ball as the quarterback, trying to determine whether or not to pitch it or not, he has a good grip on the ball.
He's
because
got to put it
both
away.
times.
He's got to put it away. Simple as that.
Yep.
So Woodbridge comes up with their second turnover, second fumble by East Brunswick in this first half.
Kills that opportunity.
And Woodbridge will start at their own 35, 1st and 10. Barton still on his feet. Looked like he was stopped at first, Phil, and kicked out to the right side, and there was an opening.
Just a sign of a good back. You never stop turning those legs. Keep moving, and you might just break something, and you almost did there.
All that was worth 3 yards. Looked like it could have gone for a little bit more and could have gone for a big loss.
It'll be 2nd and 7 for Woodbridge. They lead 7-0. They stay in that I formation. Little counter move. It's wide open. Phillips coming across and finally knocks out Mormon.
And Mormon picking up a good yard. But, John, you got to be able to pick that up. Mormon's lined up in the backfield there, and obviously that's not his normal position, so you got to figure something's up there. He's not supposed to pick up that much yardage there.
Mormon lined up in the slot and came around on the counter and moves the ball over midfield into East Brunswick territory for a first down.
Well, Mormon did do a good job of avoiding a tackle. I didn't catch the number for East Brunswick. He almost had him, but he was able to avoid it.
And official timeout. I think the ball, it looked as though the center was
perhaps motioning to the official to
to
dry
wipe
the ball.
a little.
Yeah.
We were on the field as part of the pregame, and the grass is high and wet.
It's probably still wet from a couple years ago, gentlemen.
It's certainly green out there, I'll tell you that much.
All right, we've got things set. First down. Kovalakowicz sets up quickly, looks downfield, got a man. He's got Mormon. Oh, Mormon's still on his feet. And Johnson makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
No doubt about it. If Johnson's not there, Jason Mormon is gone. They had coverage on Mormon in front of him and back of him, and Kovalakowicz put it right over the defender's head. Mormon coming up with a nice catch.
First down the Barons in deep in East Brunswick territory. Nice play, Phil. Set up well. Kovalakowicz set his feet, looked, and fired that ball.
On their own 23-yard line. First down, Woodbridge.
Ball is at the East Brunswick 22.
Nice fumble.
Ball's on the ground. Who's got it?
East Brunswick.
And what a break for the Bears.
I'll tell you, the breaks are evening up, gentlemen.
And I see Wolfskill getting off that ball, so Mark Wolfskill is the one that recovered that fumble.
And it appeared that Kovalakowicz never really had control of the ball. Took a step back, then spun around, never had a grip on it.
That fumble by Kovalakowicz. On their own
Gentlemen,
20-yard
somehow, some way, they got to get Varnell Johnson loose here for a run, for a long run, get some open territory. He's been bottled up so far.
Well, they got McCarthy back in here, spread wide to the right.
Mathis wide right as well. Barrick gives to Phillips.
He's got room.
Phillips jukes his way to the outside. It's a foot race.
There's Mormon with him.
Mormon knocks him out, but not before he's into Woodbridge territory.
And I tell you, Phillips putting on a fine show there. You had Mormon and Maurice Barton down there, probably the only two guys on the field that could have caught him.
And that's a approximately 45-yard run.
I'll tell you, a nice run by the young fella.
Well, I'm sorry, they're bringing it back to the 40-yard line, so we'll give him about 33.
It is a first down for the Bears. And Phil, maybe you got to go to Phillips.
Well, we talked about creating some balance to take some of the pressure off Johnson. And I think Marcus Gordon clearly has picked up on that. He has spread things out quite a bit today.
Two receivers to the left. First and 10, ball at the Woodbridge 42. Inside handoff goes Johnson.
Looked like a face mask.
Well, they're not going to call it.
And Phil, I got to question that strategy of running Johnson right up the middle. I mean, I know you're looking for that seam and then he's gone, but it takes a lot of pounding.
It takes a lot of pounding, and as you point out, John, not only is he the pounding he takes by the tackles, a lot of times they stand him up because he isn't so big, and guys nail him while he's...
Big free shots. You know, I was watching Mormon having caught a long pass and then almost immediately having to run down Phillips. He's tired.
Barrick looking, ball knocked down. Nice play defensively by Scarpa.
A dangerous pass thrown into coverage there.
He was looking for Cartwright. So it'll bring up third and about 9.
Scarpa on the coverage that time. So it's third down and about 10 and a half. Third down, 10 and a half.
Ball at the Woodbridge 41.
Really is a nice crowd here, John.
23 is going out. And number 2 comes in.
Barrick drops back, looks over the middle, then to the outside. He's got Johnson. Pass is caught, and Johnson fights his way to the 24-yard line.
It wasn't the prettiest pass in the world, but it certainly got there, and Johnson grabbed it.
Johnson pulling in. Most receivers would catch that ball, get tackled right there, but he's intent on picking up 3 extra yards.
So it'll be first down for East Brunswick as they're at the 24-yard line of Woodbridge. 8:30 remaining here in the second quarter. Bears trailing 7-0. But they're on the move offensively, the best they've looked tonight. 3 receivers now to the left. Christensen, who just came into the game, barrels close to the 15-yard line.
That's good yardage there. That's about 5 yards.
Kind of lumbers his way through, but he's tough to bring down.
Well, Christensen, a hard-hitting linebacker there, and they'd probably like to use him a little bit more on offense, but has that defensive responsibility.
17-yard line.
Let's give Christensen 5, second and 5. Ball at the Woodbridge 17. Inside goes Phillips, I believe.
That's Varela.
Varela.
I'll tell you, Phillips has not been back in there since that big run. You got to wonder if there's something wrong with him.
Now I see him coming in now,
Here he
Phil.
comes.
Okay.
But he is limping.
Third down, a big third down for the Bears, and we keep saying that, but
Well, this is definitely 2-down territory here. I think they're farther enough away that they won't attempt a field goal yet. If they do not make a first down on this play, they'll certainly go for it.
it's 3rd and 2, the ball resting right on the Woodbridge 15. Phillips in motion. Barrick still has it, pitches back to Phillips.
Mercy.
And it's over shoulder, and I think Woodbridge has another fumble recovery. And they do.
Oh, mercy, mercy.
It was an ill-advised pitch. Phillips was definitely not in a position to be able to handle that.
I just tell you, you're moving nicely down in that territory. I don't know that I want to pitch that ball, John.
Yeah, Varick's definitely not comfortable with that.
You know, Phil, I've got to ask you, and Jimmy as well. 3 times, you've had 3 fumbles on that play. Why do you run it? I mean,
Maybe
wait to half, pull it back into the locker room, go over it. I mean, Phillips wasn't expecting the pitch. The pitch comes over his shoulder. Varick is having trouble with it.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask at this point, really.
Why do it? And we're not being critical of the coaching staff. It's just a question any fan is probably asking at the moment. Back to the action, and a timeout. Woodbridge, so they use their second. With 6:24 left before halftime.
And I tell you, considering the turnovers and all, amazing that the Bears are in the game, and they are playing decent ball.
Yeah, the defense is, other than that first series, has seemed to recovered rather nicely and come up with the defensive plays that they've had to. But boy, you got to wonder how deflating it can be to have caused 3 turnovers, an important one down there also, which snuffed out a touchdown opportunity, one over here. And I agree with you, John. I think East Brunswick should stick to the things that are working for it right now.
Well, they have not gained any yardage when it's worked, and of 4 plays, they fumble 3 times on it. And I just wonder, when you gain some success with other approaches.
Right. Well, Varick unofficially is, I have him 3 for 5, and that one long touchdown reception by Cartwright was good for 50 yards approximately. So he has about 65 to 70 yards of passing on 3 for 5.
First down, Woodbridge.
Okay, Will Kabakowitz put it up.
Well, it's 1st and 10. The ball sitting at the East Brunswick 25, and he's going to do just that, Phil. He's got plenty of room. He's going to pull it down and run. And he gets about 9 yards.
I'll tell you,
yardage.
Fine-looking athlete.
Well, he saw the opening there. Receivers
play.
recovered. Field's a little bit slippery now. It's, as you mentioned, it's moist. And with the nighttime now, the dew's coming up.
Let's call it 2nd and 1. Clock running down to 5:50 before halftime. And it's a 7-0 game in favor of Woodbridge.
And I'll tell you, not a bad down for another pass, gentlemen.
Ball at the Woodbridge 35-yard line. They need to cross it for the first down. This is Barton. He's got the first down easy as he gets near the 40.
Guess who made the tackle?
Johnson.
Barnell Johnson once again.
39-yard line. Woodbridge is 39.
The ball will be spotted at the Woodbridge 39, 1st and 10.
Phil, here's the situation where you watch for the long pass. I think they've been passing on first down
They've been
a couple
going
of times.
They've been going to Mormon, but I'd watch number 12, Joe Kirk. He can catch it as well.
Kovalakowicz calling signals. Sprints back, being pressured.
They got him
and
now.
he's going to be dropped for it.
Whoa.
Oh, he gets away, and now he's dropped even further.
That's Christensen. Christensen the one that ran him down. Wolfskull had him first.
Wolfskill cornered him, and Christensen took him down.
And that's a major loss.
Right. We got to have to pay attention to the defensive scheme that they're using on the line, because they're certainly doing a lot more.
They're a lot more active. They're shooting a lot more different players. Marcus Borden said he would do that.
Right.
Again, Wolfskill corralling them, and Christensen hog-tying them.
Both of them really came in untouched.
Kovalakowicz was tackled at his own 17. The line of scrimmage is the Woodbridge 40.
I think he's going to have to get to Colonia to get a first down. This is way back.
2nd and 25.
Well, I think they don't like the ball again.
Official timeout, they'll wipe it down. I'd keep my eyes open for a little screen pass here, Phil. Got the wide side of the field.
Might not be a bad call.
Well, what East Brunswick does not want to do is be caught up too close, because they do have a lot of area that they can afford to come back on.
2nd down, a little counter move. Here comes Mormon again. A flag. There's going to be holding against Woodbridge.
Look at that speed.
Mormon and is taken down by Johnson, but it's going to be all brought back.
Illegal use of the hands against Woodbridge.
I'll tell you saw some speed by Jason Mormon, but you also saw some speed and a fine defensive play. Shoestring tackle by Varnell Johnson. And if he doesn't get him, Mormon may be gone.
Well, they're going to bring this one back anyway. Probably another one of those above-the-waist tackles. Below-the-waist tackles, I'm sorry. And I think they're in the area now where they're going to have to go half the distance. Meanwhile, they have to get all the way up to the 50-yard line for a first down.
Holding against Woodbridge is the call.
Well, East Brunswick has dodged a bullet again.
The ball is going to be spotted at the 15-yard line, so add another 10 to make it 2nd and about 30. And this is shades of East Brunswick Piscataway last week.
That's for sure.
All right, I think we have to watch the clock here. There's 4 minutes and 2 seconds left. East Brunswick, I believe, has used one timeout, and it's going to be kind of important to conserve as much of the clock so they can get the ball good field position.
And Barton slips as he takes the handoff.
Right.
So I think if you're Mike Salento, you just hope for 4th down and kick it out of there, because nothing else is working at the moment. He loses more yardage. Loss of about 3. Let's call it 3rd and 33. As Jimmy pointed out, Woodbridge has to go from their own, well, let's see, the ball spotted at the 12 to the 50-yard line for the first down.
And if East Brunswick is successful in keeping Woodbridge from making approximately 40 yards on this play, I would definitely call timeout after this.
Fumble. Kobalakowicz was able to grab the ball, but
I'll tell you, that's a lost series of downs for the Woodbridge Barons. I mean,
No gain on the play.
they've just regressed.
So it's last down.
Not a pretty series of downs for if you're a Woodbridge fan.
And 40.
Well, they let the clock
timeout
about
East Brunswick.
15 seconds go before they called that timeout.
Good point, Jim.
Timeout to East
Now, if
Brunswick.
you're East Brunswick, Marcus Borden, do you go for a block or do you set up the return?
I think you're going to have good field position
Regardless.
either way. I think you're going to have good field position. Going for the block here, you could conceivably hit the kicker. It still wouldn't be a first down.
You don't want to do that.
No, you'd have to hit him 5 times to get the first.
Well, I'll tell you what, Woodbridge is in a rather precarious position because they've been trying to punt away from Varnell Johnson, and as such, they've been compromising on the yardage, and just, if I were Phillips, I'd sort of stay away from, I'd have single coverage is what I do at East Brunswick on this punt return. Let Phillips handle, Varnell Johnson handle it himself.
Well, keep in mind, too, that ball is wet and slick, so the snap to the punter is not guaranteed here.
I'll tell you what, keep this in mind too, gentlemen. Kobalakowicz is the punter.
He hasn't tonight, Phil.
He normally is the punter.
Okay, what are they going to have here?
They've had Kirk.
And he's back there.
Last down for Woodbridge.
Number 12 has done the punting thus far.
Kobalakowicz is on the sides.
Kirk is in
This will be interesting to watch this one.
All right, here we go, 4th down. East Brunswick will have excellent field position. Good snap.
They had the return on.
And Phillips let it go.
Yeah, it's not a bad move.
And East Brunswick will be at the Woodbridge 34-yard line.
I'll tell you, excellent field position.
5 that time. Alessio found it. So it's East Brunswick ball.
So with 2:47 left, John, they're going to have a good crack at this. Defense did its job.
Well, what this field position does is it kind of takes the clock away. You don't have to hurry up. You've got plenty of time. You've got 2 minutes and let's say 2.5 minutes to go 34 yards. All right, 1st and 10 for the Bears. They trail 7-0. Barrick over center. Phillips in motion. Johnson on the carry. He breaks some tacklers. If he can get to the outside, he's still on his feet.
Wow.
Varnell Johnson should score.
They're not going to get him there.
He will.
Unbelievable.
What a run.
Great run.
Unbelievable.
And that's what we've been looking for. Somehow get him some daylight. He'll do the rest.
And that's been Borden's game plan. Keep banging Varnell in there and hope that he pops one. And you saw it, folks. He just popped a beautiful one. Varnell Johnson, what can you say?
Boy, he broke about 3 tackles there.
Well, I guess that answers my question. Why do you keep running them upside, inside? An important extra point here to tie the score. And Barrick will be the one designated to kick the extra point. And 2:12 remaining in the game. Good snap. Barrick's foot is up and through, and we're tied at 7.
I have to think that somebody got a hand on that ball. It sort of waddled through, went straight up in the air. So nonetheless, it's good.
I'll tell you, and again, if you're the Bears, you got to be pretty pleased after all the turnovers, after everything with 2 minutes to play, you're tied 7-7. And if you're the Woodbridge Barons, you got to believe that, what do we got to do?
3 fumbles. They lost.
Let me ask you this. Did East Brunswick score too quickly?
John, you never score too quickly.
Yeah, you never worry about it. Maybe in the professionals you do.
Well, and not being facetious.
You take it when you can get it.
That's certainly true, but with Kobalakowicz's arm, and they're not out of it.
I'll take my
anywhere.
chances.
Well, certainly you play the percentages, and certainly the percentages say let's take it.
And again, Varnell Johnson, 128 yards last week, tough yards against Piscataway, and he's picking right up where he left off.
Looks like it is Varick.
Yeah, Varick will kick off. We have 2:12 remaining before half, and we're tied at 7. Mormon is back deep. He's the man they want to handle the ball. And it looks like he's going to get his chance.
Nice kick.
He'll take it from the 10. He goes right up the middle.
Good coverage.
Crosses the 30.
Good kick coverage by East Brunswick.
And Jay Adosio right in the middle of that wedge.
So with 2:05 remaining, the Barons will have it 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line.
And clock starts to run, unlike in college or pro. And Kobalakowicz is just now coming out onto the field, so they're losing some valuable time. And I think, John, that he will air it out.
Your typical I formation.
So what's he do
it's,
but runs
it's to Barton. And Barton will pick up close to 5. Clock moving. Woodbridge doesn't appear to be in any rush.
I'll tell you, but if you're a Woodbridge fan, you want to see that Kobalakowicz arm. You want to see that ball in the air, trying to pick up another one.
Second and 5. Ball at the Woodbridge 36-yard line.
Boy, they're taking a lot of time.
Kobalakowicz has it. He looks to the outside. He's got Mormon.
Fine catch.
Short of the first down, I believe.
And I think
Official timeout. They may want to measure this.
I can't believe they called a timeout to measure this. Well, I could be off. Let's see.
well, Woodbridge grabs a break on this one, because if it is a first down, they could be calling plays already. I think Salento, the Woodbridge coach, is already yelling out to Kobalakowicz to get his troops ready.
Okay.
It is a first down.
I'll tell you, the marker's a little off on the sideline, so you really can't get your bearings.
But certainly our vantage point here is not the best.
They still have a lot of time left.
Minute 5 is showing on the clock. It'll be 1st and 10. The ball at the Woodbridge 41-yard line. Kobalakowicz takes a deep drop, looks, rolls to his right.
A lot of room there on the right side.
He's gonna pull it down and run. He's got a blocker in front of him. And he's got the first down, and he'll call timeout.
Let's see. Well, the clock is going to stop.
No, he didn't call time. You're right, Jim. They're stopping it to move the chains. 45 seconds remain.
See, they
and Woodbridge is right on the ball.
Yeah, they did have 2 plays called, so they're already ready for this one.
And number 9 for East Brunswick making that tackle.
Yard line of East Brunswick. 1st and 10.
I don't have a name for this fellow.
And the clock is official.
And heads up play, Kobalakowicz throws the ball in the ground. That'll stop the clock.
Oh, that's Dave Habib, third string quarterback.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. The ball is at the East Brunswick 41-yard line. And a good heads up play.
I'm trying to recall whether or not Woodbridge used its 3 allotment of timeouts. 2.
They have 1 remaining, I believe.
Okay.
36 seconds remain. Barons in East Brunswick territory. We're tied at 7. Halftime's almost upon us.
Just follow Jason Mormon if you want to know the ball's going.
Kobalakowicz looks down deep. He's got Mormon. He's got Mormon, and Mormon drops it.
Oh, yeah.
And a flag's going to be on Johnson. A late hit.
That's a high school official call. I'll tell you what, he really didn't hit him hard.
Well, first of all, the ball's popped off his hands. Johnson followed through with the hit.
Exactly. He started his momentum even before the ball was dropped.
And I mean, Mormon got up in no sweat. The official felt it necessary to throw the flag.
You wouldn't see that in college or pros. it's just
Johnson
what happens.
just raised his arm saying, give me a break.
Oh, Lord. Well, they're going to get 15 yards out of this, but the fact remains Jason Mormon dropped a touchdown pass.
Yeah,
and
great throw by Kobalakowicz, right on the money.
They knew it was going his way.
Personal foul against East Brunswick. It'll be an automatic first down.
You got to believe the defender in between Mormon and the ball obscured his vision some, and he saw it at the last moment, hit off his hands.
Well, watch number 17 again.
Ball at the East Brunswick 24, 30 seconds remain. Kobalakowicz again, puts it up. And knocked away by Phillips. Good defense there.
A fine defensive play by Phillips. Mormon positioned himself to pick off the ball again, and Phillips just made a fine defensive play.
Well, the way they're going here, they got time for 2 more of these.
Yeah. 2nd and 10. Phil, do you look off Mormon and go somewhere else?
Mormon's your money man. You know, most of the times he's going to catch that ball. So that's the guy you're most comfortable with, you go with it. Of course, like I said before, number 12, Joe Kirk, can catch the ball as well.
Second and 10.
They certainly have that defense spread.
East Brunswick. And ball went right through the hands of the receiver, and that was Chris Steven, number 27. So it brings up third down. Do they have a field goal kicker, Phil?
No good. Third down and filter.
Do they have a good field goal kicker, you mean?
Well, yeah, that is the question.
I don't know, to tell you the truth,
I was being
John.
kind. Well, we may find out. 20 seconds, third down. Ball at the East Brunswick 26-yard line.
127.
Mormon wide right. Here's that little counter.
Jeez.
And it's Mormon.
Can't believe it.
And he gets out of bounds, or did he? Yes.
He gets out of bounds. Phillips tackled him out of bounds. He could have kept him in. But
13 seconds.
They've been working that play successfully all night.
And anytime Mormon lines up there, you gotta
Just got a key on him.
key on him. You gotta believe he's gonna go with it.
It'll be first and 10 for the Barons.
13 seconds. Now they got a legitimate shot at getting it in here. John, you may be right. They may have given them too much time. Scored too quick.
Very official.
Oh, gosh.
Very official.
Here we go.
Trips to the right, and you gotta believe it's gonna be passed over there.
The ball's at the 11.
Oh, he's open.
Kovalakowicz
He
has
is
got
open.
Mormon. Slips one tackle, still on his feet. Did he get in?
He fumbled the ball.
Gonna
No, he fumbled the ball,
stops
John.
the clock. He's out of bounds. But he's got to be close. Where are they going to spot it? At the
They're
one?
Right at the goal line. 5 seconds
That was
left.
the Mormon.
And Phil, this Jason Mormon has put on a show this half.
He's an all-around performance.
Well, they're on the 1 yard line here. 5 seconds to go. What do you do here?
You put Mr. Barton behind your best tackle and say, drive it home.
Timeout, I believe, Woodbridge, and that's their last.
So they're gonna,
Woodbridge timeout.
It's first and about a
Ball is
foot.
on the half-yard line.
Well, you
boy, I tell you what, I don't know. Phil, I think I might have saved that timeout and gone for it, like you said, with Barton up the middle. 5 seconds left. You figure you can maybe call that timeout and get another second,
No,
get
Jim,
another
5
play off.
seconds can slip by too quickly. You go in there, getting up slow, and before you know it's gone past you. I think as close as they are, this has to be the call. You got to go for it here.
Yeah.
And if you can't get a touchdown from the half-inch line, then
Again, they may be passing the ball.
Well, Salerno's got one shot at it. That's why the
He
timeout.
certainly has a number of options.
he has a number of options. If you got to believe that Kovalakowicz may just not hand that ball off, keep it himself, and lunge for it, or of course they may send Barton behind their best.
Well, do you risk a handoff, Phil, or you just let Kovalakowicz fall forward?
I think we'll see in a minute that Kovalakowicz will take it right through.
Well, from our vantage point, he's on the half-yard line.
1 foot line.
Well, here we go. 5 seconds. He takes it. He's in. Touchdown, Woodbridge, with 2 seconds on the clock.
And I think you're going to have to give credit to number 74 for Woodbridge,
That's
providing that
McLaughlin.
key block.
Miles McLaughlin, he's been a
Okay.
workhorse on both sides of the line. And we chuckled at John when John suggested that perhaps they scored too early. Our feeling simply is that the Bear defense had played fairly well and wouldn't give it up. But as you see, they score with
1 second too much time.
19 carry for the extra point.
let's give John some credit.
All those years with the Giants. Extra point, and Woodbridge will go in at half with the lead, 14-7. Oh, there's a second showing. Well, for all practical purposes,
Still 1 second left
it's
on the
over, because
clock.
you know Woodbridge is going to kick off in the air, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we'll go through the formality here of a kickoff.
Well, this is turning into a
And a
back and
special
forth
thanks
game.
to
I think East Brunswick definitely can feel good, though. I mean, they did give up that last touchdown, but I think they feel a little bit more confident they can move the ball in Woodbridge.
I'll tell you, though, if you're an East Brunswick fan, that call by the officials has to stick in your guts. I just don't think it was a good call. Like I said, Mormon got up, and he was as surprised as anyone that a flag was thrown.
All right, Perry will kick it off, and again, don't expect to see it in the air. With 1 second remaining, both teams will be content to go in halftime and reorganize, regroup.
There's the whistle, it comes to kick.
Well, it's an onside kick.
And
that they have recovered.
That should do it.
I'll tell you, they may have recovered. I'll tell you one thing. You better believe Marcus Gordon will say something to
sure, they're sleeping.
Lucarelli. Hey, listen, regardless, you fall on that ball.
Now the officials are whistling back the Woodbridge team.
Well, the clock can't start with the defense recovering the ball. I think Woodbridge has it, and I think they're going to get a shot.
Uh-oh.
I mean, the East Brunswick play, you got to fall on that ball. You're taught that, you practice that. Anytime there's an onside kick, you got to go and fall on that ball.
Okay.
And so you're right, Jim.
Our
Woodbridge
producer
is coming out.
Well, wait a minute. I think our producer, Dave, one of our cameramen, Dave Andresi, has made a point that the ball has not gone 10 yards, and it does have to. So I think East Brunswick gets possession at that point.
Oh, that's true. I thought that was the issue, that it had not gone 10 yards, but East Brunswick out on the ball quickly. Woodbridge players somewhat disorganized. The coach is still on the field.
Everyone's a little confused at this point.
Well, East Brunswick looking to take advantage of it, but the officials are holding up the ball. Can't go anywhere without the pigskin. So the clock shows no time, but obviously we'll have one play. And Varick will put it down deep, looking for Johnson, and almost intercepted. And officially, the first half has now come to an end. Our score, Woodbridge 14, East Brunswick 7.
Well, an interesting half of football.
Well, no doubt about that.
Yeah. Probably the highlight for East Brunswick was Johnson, of course, getting through. But I think East Brunswick can move the ball. They're just going to get some possessions. They're going to have to certainly key on Jason Moorman. He has been everything for as far as the offense has been for Woodbridge, Phil.
You got a good point. The real point is that the Bears have played solid ball. They're in the game. Breaks have pretty much even up, and the Bears just have to come out and keep it going.
Yeah.
All right, so while the teams go in, we'll take a break ourselves, and we'll be back with the start of the third quarter in just a moment. All right, the team's back out from the locker room to start this third quarter. You see the captains back out there in this ceremonial who's going to receive, who's going to kick off portion. Jimmy, you have some stats?
Yeah, I think Woodbridge is going to be the one receiving here. Vornell Johnson off that 35-yard run for a touchdown, 40 yards, and I believe that Varick was 3 for 5 in the passing department for about 70 yards. That's been it for East Brunswick.
Phil, you change anything up if you're either coach?
I think you're going to see a little bit more passing from Woodbridge. I'm surprised they didn't pass more than they did. And for the Bears, I think you'll see pretty much the same there. You're going to see Vornell Johnson probably a little bit more balance, and maybe the shorter passes, the quick passes.
All right, East Brunswick should be kicking off.
Phil, you might have mentioned this perhaps a year ago, but I think we should mention that assistant for Salento is Kenny Pace, former
basketball coach.
Yeah.
Right. Kenny's at Kennedy.
J.F. Kennedy, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's the head men's coach.
In the Woodbridge school system.
And I'll tell you, speaking about Kenny, I'll tell you in a minute.
All right, we're ready to go. Varick will kick it off for the Bears. Woodbridge to receive. Start this third period. The Barons are on top, 14-7.
Low
Low kick by Varick, but deep. This will be Mormon. He'll take it at his 10-yard line, goes right up the middle again.
They had a nice wedge, but an equally nice coverage by the East Brunswick kickoff team.
Mormon crosses the 35 to the 37, and that's where the Barons will go on offense.
Phil, you want to mention something about Ken Pace?
Well, about Kennedy. We lost 2 giants of football last year. Of course, Jay Dackelman from Holland Park, and then the great Kerry Hamrah.
Right.
And when you're in this neck of the woods, you can't help but think of Kerry Hamrah.
All right, first and 10 for the Barons.
In the backfield with Kovalakowicz at quarter.
Kovalakowicz with that I formation. Gives off to Barton, and quickly Barton gets outside for about 14 yards. And that'll be a first down into East Brunswick territory.
It will be a first down, and you have to think that the threat of Kovalakowicz passing had East Brunswick thinking pass on first down, and that probably provided the room for Burton to run.
That's a good point. In Woodbridge philosophy, unlike most teams where they do the run to set up the pass, they do the pass to set up the run. And Mike Salento hasn't been shy about saying that.
First and 10, the ball at the East Brunswick 49-yard line.
$295. Ed Merkel from East Brunswick.
Blitz coming. Kovalakowicz stands in the pocket. He's got Mormon across the middle. And again, it's a foot race. Phillips will knock him out, but not before he gets to the 25-yard line.
Well, I don't know. They have been finding those seams all evening. Mormon has been getting open. You think they would just keep somebody and just preventing him from going for the line of scrimmage.
Well, the fact of the matter is they do have Phillips is supposed to be playing Mormon heads up one-on-one.
And Phil, I think what's happening is that crossing pattern, Phillips is getting screened or blocked out, and Mormon's wide open every time. Anyway, it's a first and 10 for Woodbridge at the East Brunswick 26, and they're on the move. Start of the third quarter. They lead 14-7. Here goes Barton, bounces to the outside, steps up and is hit hard, but he'll pick up 3.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you put Varnell Johnson on Jason Mormon, seeing that he is probably the best defensive player on the team.
Then you still gotta keep somebody in the middle there to respect Barton's running and then anything else they might do.
They give Barton 2, so we'll call it 2nd and 7.
Okay, Ingen on the tackle there. Christensen a little upset with himself because he missed the tackle.
Ball at the East Brunswick 24. Fake, a little counter inside.
And this time they stop him for just 2, John.
By a whole host of East Brunswick players.
Instead of going to the outside, Mormon decided to cut it in and ran into a lot of traffic that time.
So it'll bring up third down. Give Mormon 2 on the carry. 3rd and 5.
Well, he's been more than just a receiver tonight, no doubt about it. He's really an all-purpose player, defensively as well.
Ball is now on the 22-yard line. 3rd and 6.
Woodbridge sends 2 men wide right.
Okay.
Inside handoff, stopped this time.
Yeah, there they stopped.
Good defense by the Bears. Down on the bottom there, number
83.
And number...
Oh, I think Varela, 26, was also
26,
in on that.
Varela.
Dave
Right.
Dixon and Dave Varela on the tackle. Barton got nowhere, so it brings up 4th down. 4th and 5, and it looks like they're going to go for it. Kirk wide left, Mormon wide right.
There's Mormon cutting across.
And that's Mormon on his feet. He's going to score. Wow. Same play. We've seen it all night.
And that has to be frustrating for East Brunswick, especially the coaching staff. I'm not sure they have the best of vantage points on the other side of the field there, but Mormon has been just cutting across, and every time Kovalakowicz has actually been telegraphing his pass.
I'll tell you, you mentioned, Jim, why not Varnell Johnson on him? I said that you need to keep Varnell in the middle to protect against a lot of other things, but with the damage Jason Mormon's been doing,
you got to do something.
You got to shut him down.
All right, Perry on for the extra point. And it's blocked.
And who blocks it?
Great
Barnell
play.
Johnson.
Who else?
That's right. He's not giving up the ship, no doubt about it. Well, East Brunswick definitely needs a score here. They're behind by 2 touchdowns minus an extra point, but wow.
Our score now is Woodbridge 20, East Brunswick 7.
I'll tell you what, the crowd's strangely quiet around here. I'd be pretty happy about the situation.
Well, they scored right before half, and they scored on first time they touched the ball in the third quarter.
I'll tell you, Jim, crowds are, you know I'm partial, but crowds are a little strange anyway.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune to sit in on that South River crowd last Saturday, and you want to talk about a wild crowd. Of course, they have the reputation for being wild, but they know what a football game is about, and it's about cheering. It's about being there, supporting your team.
All right, Perry will kick it off.
Well, we got a
Lucarello and
that's 41, Chris Hendricks. We haven't seen too much of him. He's a junior.
You're right, Jim. Number 41 and Lucarello, number 23, are back deep, and they put Johnson and Phillips right up in front of them, and
they've got to get on it.
And that'll go out of bounds. That'll be a flag against Woodbridge, and so that'll back them up 5
if they want
if they choose it. Yes.
Right. You can't fault Mike Salento with this strategy, really.
Not at all.
I mean, you've seen what Johnson can do when he gets just a little bit of daylight. He's gone. Nobody can catch him.
And Phillips as well, 96-yarder against Cherokee.
And that'll be a procedure against Woodbridge decline, so East Brunswick will take it right there.
Take the ball. Why not? Good field position, and you know they're not going to kick it deep anyway.
First and 10 on their own 43-yard line.
Well, we have to see what East Brunswick can do. This is the first time they touched the ball this quarter, this half.
They'll have it on their own 42. They need to respond. They're down 20-7.
Yes, Phillips, Barilla, Johnson in the backfield with Target quarter.
Phillips rather go in motion. This is Johnson. Johnson will dive for 3. Let's give him 4.
Hulak made the tackle that time for Woodbridge.
We'll move him back a little bit, so it'll be 2nd and 7.
You got Scott Hulick and Jason Mormon in on the tackle there. Hulick, a big tackle.
Ball's at the East Brunswick 47.
Yeah, they weren't set for enough.
Morello wasn't set in the backfield. Johnson, who picks up the first down.
That's a shame because you're going to lose a first down on this.
It's going to be called back.
And the blame has to be on the quarterback. He has to have the sense around him to watch, see that his backs are set before he gets the snap.
Here we go.
This is just the inexperience that Jim Varick. I'm sure we could take target practice for the fumbles and things like that. But let's face it, he wasn't really ready to be the quarterback this season. He was put in this position by the injury by Mark Neary, and he's basically learning on the job.
And as I told you earlier, he was out for nearly a month himself due to an injury. So
right.
He didn't get the reps that he needed to get that true feel that you need.
All right, 2nd and 13. Ball moved back to East Brunswick 41. Varick looks over the middle and almost intercepted. He had Phillips cutting across the middle, and he had Cartwright out further.
Right, 2 receivers in the same area, which you don't like to see. And still fortunate that the ball wasn't intercepted.
So it'll bring up 3rd down and 13.
3rd and 13.
7:33 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Bears trailing by 13. 3rd and 13.
Number 2 is in there now. Mike Mathis is in there.
Varick looks. And intercepted that time, and there's a wall of blockers.
He's got a clear sail in there if he can get past them all. Varick's going to catch him.
Nice run. Ball intercepted by Chris Steven, and he brings it down to the 6-yard line.
Well, Varick was hoping that the receiver would curl into the pattern, but it just never did develop.
I'm not sure what he was hoping, Jim. The ball was just put up there, and the Woodbridge defender didn't have much to do just to pull it in.
All right, 4th turnover for East Brunswick, and that's what's hurt them the most tonight.
And it brings that defense back on the field again.
And when you need time to develop a passing game, and again, when you haven't had that much practice, it really hurts your passing game. You lose your first string quarterback, and it puts you in these types of situations.
All right, 1st and goal from the 6. The Barons knocking again.
I apologize. 6-yard line.
Well,
Kobolakowicz keeps it, still on his feet, and he'll lose a yard.
Well, Wolfskill had him by the arm, which he's been doing a lot of arm tackling tonight. And was still enough to catch Kobolakowicz. Probably has him back for a little bit of a loss here.
We'll call it 2nd and 7 to the goal.
Same place, about the 4-yard line. Good.
All right, Woodbridge has been creative tonight, no doubt about it. I'm sure they'll come up with something here.
That's the 8-yard line.
Well, keep your eyes on number 17.
8-yard
doubt.
line is on right
Phillips out on him by himself. And a false start by Kobolakowicz.
Right, the ball never left the ground.
All right, Mr. Center did not have the same count that the quarterback had.
So it'll bring up, well, it'll be a 5-yard penalty moving back. It'll still be 2nd down. And Woodbridge cannot get a 1st down, so they have to score or turn over the ball.
Well, actually gives Woodbridge a little bit more room to maneuver.
Yeah.
Mormon, you know, if it's one thing, if he has more room for that slanting pass, they'll go after it.
Or that little counter that they have run so successfully.
So it's 2nd down on the 14.
You got to watch for it.
2nd down. Kobolakowicz looks. He's got a man in the corner, a flag. It's going to be holding against Woodbridge.
I'll tell you, Szymanski nailed him.
And they're going to call holding on Brzezinski, number 35. No, they're calling blocking below the waist.
Blocking below the knees against Woodbridge.
And we've watched Woodbridge do it time and time again when they should be moving forward, constantly moving backwards. Happened late in the first half before they scored that touchdown.
We don't know.
And they're showing the same tendencies here.
They tell you in the pros, but they don't.
So they're moving back further and further.
They don't even tell you in
It'll
college.
still be 2nd down.
There it is, right there.
All right, now
And
what
what
do we got
started
here?
from the 6-yard line has now ended up to be Woodbridge's ball at the East Brunswick 39-yard
So
line.
they marked that foul off from where it occurred. So
Right.
that's almost a double loss for Woodbridge because they were back deep anyway.
That's why it's on the 38-yard line.
And now East Brunswick will certainly guard against the long pass play.
Still 2nd down.
2nd and 38 for the score.
Oh, Mr. Mormon.
And we watch Eric Phillips one-on-one with Jason Mormon.
Kobolakowicz goes back, looks in the pockets, firing deep down the field. He's got Steven. Steven makes the catch. Can you believe this?
Wow.
Chris Stevens, fine catch.
And I'll tell you what, Chris Kobolakowicz, we've said it, he is just laying beautiful passes out there.
I'll tell you, he put it out there. If he would have put it out there any further, he would have been near our cameraman's father's house, Dave Ambrosi. His father grew up not far from here. And if Chris Kobolakowicz would have put it up any further, it would have touched Mr. Ambrosi's home, I tell you.
Now they give him a 1st down on this. I thought it was...
it can't be a 1st down.
It can't be a 1st down.
They started on their own 6.
It's
got to be 3rd down.
Third
It
and
is
goal.
3rd and goal from the 3. And they want a timeout.
Mike Salento wants a
Say
timeout.
Salento.
And he's angry. And he is angry on the sidelines.
He didn't have a player on the field he wanted.
Well, let's do the counting game here. I count 10.
He's
Somebody's
looking at number
missing.
55, and here he goes out on the field, and he'll hear about it come Tuesday.
Well, you'll hear about it tonight, I'm sure. Why wait till Tuesday? So just when East Brunswick had Woodbridge moving backward, they give up a big play, and now the Barons are at the 3-yard line.
Boy, we knew that coming into this game, Kobolakowicz was a good passer, and in Phil had mentioned, he was able to throw over 200 yards against a good Edison defense. Now we can see why. He really he has a great vision of the field, as all good quarterbacks do. And he lays that, it's like a soft pass. It's not a hard pass, Phil. He seems to be able to sort of lay the ball in there.
Phil, whose motion does he remind you of when he throws the ball, at least in high school?
The truth,
reminds me a little bit of Joey Theismann.
I was going to say that. Joey had that really.
He has a quick release, doesn't he?
The quick release.
Yeah.
And nice tight spiral.
All right, here we go. 3rd and goal. 4:37 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. And this is Barton. Barton still on his feet. Did he get in?
Yes, they're giving it to him.
No, they're not.
No,
I'm sorry.
They're going to say he's short.
Thought he was raising his hand to signal touchdown. Okay.
So it'll bring up 4th.
Down.
And apparently he didn't gain much, if anything.
4th down. Will we see Mr. K again? Kobalakowicz keep it?
It's about the 2-yard line.
Barons on top, 20-7.
Well, 74 left guard. That's where they went last time.
They come with a wishbone formation. Barton, he's in.
Oh gosh, he drove through. All right. So Woodbridge comes up big again when they need to.
And you got to be impressed by that offensive line of Woodbridge. They've been doing a job tonight.
Barton scores his 2nd touchdown.
And Perry will be on for the extra point. 3:50 remaining in the quarter. It's now 26-7. Perry looking to add the 27th point for Woodbridge.
Whoops.
And procedure, and that'll stop it right there.
That's interesting. Kobalakowicz was going to pick that ball up and run with it. I think that was a design play.
That ball foul. Woodbridge.
Now what do we do, Coach?
Now's
your kicking team.
Now you do kick it.
Right. No, actually, looks like they're coming off with the tee. So they're going to go for a legitimate 2 points here.
You're right, Jim. Perry's off. So they'll go for the 2 points. And that will require, if they make it, that will require East Brunswick to come in with 3 scores just to tie.
There'll be 2 points I couldn't try for.
Pressure's on. Pass is dumped.
He's in.
Chris Stevens.
Nope.
Stevens is short.
Wow.
Not by much.
Thought he was going to make it.
So East Brunswick holds on the 2-point conversion, but they trail 26-7.
It's a big hill to climb. With 3:50 left in the 3rd quarter.
Well, I tell you really got to wonder. The second halves haven't been kind to East Brunswick this year.
You're right.
And when you consider the Bears don't play a whole lot of people both ways. There's a few people. Vernell, Jay
Adosio.
Right.
Right.
But not a whole lot of people 2 ways.
Eric Phillips is a 2-way player.
Right. So you think in the second half, perhaps you want your team to get stronger.
It just has not. It has been a strength for East Brunswick in years past. We've made note of that.
Yes.
But that has not been the case this year.
And you've got to think it's going to be doubly tough for East Brunswick because they really don't have a passing game, as Phil mentioned.
Well, Marcus Borden, again, he talked at the top of the game and just said, hey, their passing game is real hurt with the quarterback nearly out, and not a knock against Varick. But,
no, not at all. Perry finally kicks it down, and it goes out of bounds again, and I think East Brunswick will
have him kick it over.
You're right, Phil. What is the status on Mark Neary?
I understand 1 more week, perhaps. Yeah. Talking to Phil Hostler, and he said perhaps 1 more week.
It was a separated shoulder, and truthfully, coming into the first game of the season, Cherokee, he did have the injury, and he took a good hit, and it sort of really damaged the shoulder. He was really immobile. You have to wonder, just what kind of mobility Mark's going to have when he does return. I don't think they want to hurry this thing back.
Well, Johnson will be the lone return man. They've got their backs and receivers as the second line in defense, and up front is mostly people who are familiar with handling the ball. Interesting, Phillips is not in there.
There's the whistle. Here comes the kick.
Perry on the ground, and he'll let it go out, and that'll move him. I would move him back.
Move him back again.
Yeah, I think that would be the strategy this time. If they want to elect to kick it out, let's make them pay for it. Well, I see Phillips is on the far side there as an up back.
So a lot of time being taken to get this kickoff underway. We have 3:49 remaining in the quarter, and Woodbridge is bringing out a different kicker.
Which tells you they're going to boot it away. They're going to kick it deep this time, you got to believe.
This is Robert Edmonds, number 41, doing the kicking.
And you see the size of the legs on him. You got to believe they're going to boot it away.
What I want to know is, how does the second go off the clock if no one touched the ball?
Here comes the kick. There's the whistle.
Only in high school football. And Edmonds doesn't do much better.
And make them do it again.
Well, at this rate, East Brunswick could be at the Woodbridge 5-yard line.
Well, no time went off the clock that time.
I'll tell you, at this rate, we could run out of tape.
And East Brunswick making some substitutions now. Looks like they're putting back in the first team kickoff return
Well,
team
let's see.
or unit.
You've got Phillips back there now, and Johnson, as well as
Lucarello.
They're playing
Right.
a chess game here, and 2-1, Salental says squib kick it again. Even though I have the same kicker in there,
Hendricks, 41, is an up back, along with, as you mentioned, John Lucarello. And then you have Varela and Christensen. So certainly a ball handler can get this.
This will be a crowd pleaser if he keeps it on the field.
There's the kick.
There we
And he
go.
does.
the crowd does.
And Phillips
Phillips.
catches it.
From the 37, and he gets close to midfield, about the 48-yard line.
Phillips is stopped by
Derisive yell from the
I'll tell you,
crowd.
the crowd did come alive.
Stick
That's
with
the
me,
largest
fellas.
cheer we've heard tonight. Not even, they didn't
I know.
cheer that loud for a
Honestly.
touchdown.
now you're in Emory on the tackle that time. First and 10 for East Brunswick.
So the Bears will have it.
47.
They're down by 19 points. Clock running now, 3:20 remaining in the quarter.
Johnson starts the quarter.
Phillips in motion. Pitch. This is Johnson.
They got him.
Johnson wrapped up right away, picks up maybe a yard.
And strategy's quite apparent. They are trying to get Cornell loose for one of his long patented runs.
I'll tell you, Nick DeLessio, defensive end over there, and Anthony Slaze.
Second down and 9. Second and 9.
Second and 9. Ball at the 49. Johnson again, and maybe a
I'll
yard.
tell you, he's getting racked.
He's getting wrecked because they're aiming for him.
Well, the other side is you're down by 19, not by 7.
Again, that linebacker, Anthony Slaze. Number 50.
So third and, we'll say 8. Ball right at midfield. And official timeout.
This is our first equipment timeout tonight, gentlemen.
Surprising, isn't it? Seems like first two games there were about 4 or 5 of them.
All right, East Brunswick puts Hartright and Johnson and Phillips wide right.
Okay, is this the slanting or is this the fly? It's the slanting.
And Johnson makes a nice catch on a rather poorly thrown pass, quite honestly.
So he makes the catch, and
And he picks up 3.
And he's down.
he's still down. He took some shots
I'll
again.
tell you, he's been taking shots. And As I pointed out, it's just not the one shot that he gets by the would-be tackler. It's standing him up and other people taking shots at him as well.
Johnson was hurt on that
And Johnson's down. We hope it's not serious.
Well, I have no doubt that East Brunswick is going to go for it on this 4th and 5. They have to, really.
Oh, mercy. And they look like they're looking at his knee.
So it's
I
last
don't
down
like
and
that.
5. Last down and 5.
Yeah, they are flexing his knee. Seems to be okay, Phil.
And I tell you, we always do a lot of talking about Varnell, but he's been really the heart and soul of this Bear team for a couple years now.
He's all right. Boy, give him a lot of credit. He's taken a pounding. He knows that he's a target.
An all-around performer, a fine performer on the track this summer. And
Yeah, track team, basketball.
Well, you call it, Jim. 4th down. They're going to go 4th and about 5. Ball at the Woodbridge 46-yard line. Barrick rolls to his left. Flag is thrown and the ball is low.
Bounced.
I'll tell you,
Don't refuse it.
Phillips came over to switch position, was not set, and official standing right there.
And again, your quarterback has to look at your players to see that they have been set before he gets the snap.
So the ball will go over to Woodbridge with 1:16 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Make that to 47 and a half.
And I don't know if it's me, but it seems like it's getting awfully foggy on the field.
It is misty.
Yeah.
Barton, the lone setback for Woodbridge. And it'll be he with the ball. And he'll pick up close to 3 as he crosses midfield.
I think we should mention that this is the first time we've been at Prisco Field since they have installed these lights. And
you're right, Jim. That's right.
And is evidenced by the size of the crowd, albeit they're not vocal, but nonetheless they're here. And something has to be said about night football for Woodbridge. I think they're one of the last ones in the red division, I should say,
Right.
that resorted to night lights.
2nd and 6 from the East Brunswick 49. Barton again. It'll be, I think, just short of the 1st down. But the clock is running down with 25 seconds left, 3rd quarter.
I got to ask you something.
Go ahead.
Okay, because I know it's okay. South River. They don't have lights. What is behind that anyway? I mean, I know it's such a tradition over there.
I think they're probably because they're purists and purists that believe that football is supposed to be played on a Saturday afternoon with the sun shining, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
And they have never been hurting for fan participation, that's for sure.
Of course, the fact that they can't afford it
Might have something
Little something to do with it.
Well, if you'd make a donation to your alma mater.
I'll tell you
that's
though,
the
Tim,
quarter, guys.
I don't want to belabor a point, but
Right.
from where we're sitting right amongst the crowd here.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it is strange
They
to
are
be at a
laid
football
back.
game to see a crowd as laid back as they are, almost like we're at an opera. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, I quite honestly, I think they're stunned. They never expected this. They're not used to this. Night game, Woodbridge beating East Brunswick. They're just overwhelmed by
Well,
it.
from what we've seen tonight, I think they can look forward to a few more victories.
Well, they
Really.
look good.
They
do
have
look
a
good.
very talented club, and that Kobalakowicz to Mormon combination is as lethal as I've seen quite a long time.
Well, we go to the final 12 minutes. And Woodbridge will have a 3rd and about 2. They lead 26-7.
For Woodbridge. The East Brunswick 44-yard line. 3rd down and 1.
Ball spotted at the East Brunswick 44-yard line. I formation. It's Barton.
By Barton.
And he wormed his way through. I think he's got the 1st down.
I'll tell you, we've been critical of the fans here for being quiet, but I'll tell you, they're a refreshment stand. And now they have people walking through the crowd here with popcorn and cupcakes and everything else. They do it right. They even have spaghetti in the refreshment stand.
How do you think they afforded the lights?
I mean, I've never seen anything like it, so you got to give them credit for one thing.
Well, it tells us where your mind is tonight.
Oh, good gosh.
And Barton does pick it up.
Well, I'll tell you what else is different about Woodbridge, and that is this offense. How many years have we watched the Woodbridge offense with nothing but a running game, simply because they didn't have the athletes that could do these types of things that we're seeing tonight?
And there's a former Woodbridge player who's doing quite well at Glassboro State, Dennis McKim.
That's correct.
McKim,
we
right.
called his number a couple of times.
Over the years, yes. 1st and 10 for the Barons. East Brunswick, 42-yard line.
Johnson's back in the game, by the way.
Barton, flag is thrown. I think we're going to have a hold against Woodbridge as Barton picks up 3.
That was Barton. Carried.
And yeah, Christensen, Adocio, and Varnell on the tackle.
Against Woodbridge.
Woodbridge is being conservative, rightly so. They do have a comfortable lead at this juncture, 26-7, so they're anxious to let the clock move too.
Well, as we've seen over the years, and as Phil has mentioned many years, paybacks can be horrible, and you never want to embarrass a team intentionally.
Holding against Woodbridge. I'm surprised that they're holding.
And I'm sure Mike Salento just wants to run this clock out, no injuries, and savor the victory.
First down and 20.
Speaking of the clock, it's down to 11 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game.
He's going to
throw. Just as we said it, Kovalakowicz puts it up for Stevens.
Sure.
Offensive. It's got to be offensive interference.
I don't think so, Phil. No, I think Lucarella was definitely nudging Stevens out. We'll see.
We'll see what the call is. We know it's interference. Against whom is the question. It's going to go against East Brunswick, and you just knew with the way things were going tonight, that was the way the call was going to go.
Your notion that Mike Salento simply just wants to run out the clock.
That went out the window, didn't it?
Well, hey, they have a fierce rivalry,
right,
and
it is.
two competitive coaches.
Sure.
Marcus, I tell you, he says he hasn't mellowed, but I think he has mellowed. I think being the president of the GMC has something to do with it. And just getting older.
Well, you know, memories go back a long way,
That's right.
and if we can recall an East Brunswick team that was well on its way to going for a playoff berth, kicked a field goal by Josh Miller late in the game, if you remember that.
Yes, you're right now.
It was a 41-0 game, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you're right, Jim.
There he goes.
He's got his man.
Wow,
right on the money.
Beautiful throw.
Great catch by number 80. That's Jack Briscoe.
I'll tell you, fine catch. And Briscoe just running and, once again, putting his hands up at the last moment and snagging that ball.
A little bit of mouthing going on in the backfield here.
Well, I think Kovalakowicz is claiming that he was hit after he threw the ball.
Right.
And again, I don't think we're going to see a finer passer in the county than Kovalakowicz. He just
beautiful throw.
He just wings it.
So that play will bring Woodbridge to the East Brunswick 5-yard line.
And Marcus Borden will not say anything, but I have to think he's seething about this long passing game.
You know, I think that stuff's overplayed. I think you got to play.
Barton almost fumbled the ball. He pulled it back in.
Wow.
I mean, Jim, there's a time to call the troops off, but you got 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, and you prepare your team to play. In Pop Warner, they have rules. Once you're up by 20 points, you can only run in between the tackles. And for kids at that stage, I think it certainly makes sense. Here, you got to learn to take
you
some
run
tough
between
ones.
the tackles.
This is
On the 5-yard line.
Okay.
there you go. You don't think he'll throw it here, do you?
Who knows? 2nd and goal. Ball spotted at about the 6-yard line. Well, you called it, Jim. And there's interference again,
That's-
Lucarello.
That is face guarding. Can't do that.
And Johnson got a shot in too on Stevens. And that's what you hope doesn't happen, that this gets out of hand
Starts to
and
deteriorate, right.
that we start seeing cheap shots on
Well,
either
guess what?
side.
They're calling, if they pointed at the right way, they're calling offensive interference. I don't see it.
Well,
But he did point toward Woodbridge, toward Woodbridge. Did he not, Phil?
If it is, they called it too serious, too late.
Strange officiating.
No, well, there may have been some pushing off. I didn't see it. It appeared, like you said, Jim, appeared to be face guarding.
Pass interference against Woodbridge. Oh, lost it down. So
I just didn't see that.
It wasn't a. Okay.
the ball back on the 20-yard line.
Again,
Well,
it may have been the paybacks for the
it could be.
1-2 plays earlier.
Well, the ball is moved to the East Brunswick 21-yard line. It's third down and
That's on the 21-yard line.
and goal,
And goal.
basically. So it's 3rd and 21.
Well, we've been in this situation before, and Kopolakowicz has come through.
Back to the air.
Well, he's got all kinds of time.
He's throwing in the corner. He's got a man, and Lucarello, good defense that time.
Thankfully, no flag.
I'll tell you, the official's standing right on top of that play. I don't know if
You would have thrown it, huh, Phil?
the defender has his back, has his head turned or not. It didn't appear that he turned around at all, but the official's standing right on top of it and no call, so I guess it was a fine defensive play.
Well, it brings up 4th down. I said it was Lucarello on the coverage. It was actually Varick.
All right. Mormon's to the right here, John.
Mormon, who's been quiet for the last 5 minutes anyway. Kopolo. Oh, right in Phillips' hands. Kopolakowicz looking for Mormon.
and Johnson giving Mormon a shot anyway.
Broken up that time by
So East Brunswick does stop them this time around.
With 9:21, they'll take over. And they'll have it on their own 21. 1st and 10, East Brunswick.
I see a lot of clean jerseys in there, gentlemen.
Well, you might as well.
There's a new cast of linemen.
Varick hands off to, I believe that's Phillips.
They're gang tackling.
And I tell you, the line has opened up some holes today. It's just been tough going, and we got Tom Regia and Brian Kropinski, Mike Kriskowski, John Halley, and Chris Bascom.
2nd and 8. Give Phillips 2.
On 2nd down and 9. Dark at quarter.
Varick, quick pitch. Johnson turns the corner.
He had a block there.
Puts his head down and a flag. And there may be a holding or illegal block against Mathis, number 2. He was out there blocking for Johnson. Oh, a personal foul called against Woodbridge.
Well, they might have sort of whacked at Johnson on that one. Meanwhile, Regia, number 58, he seems to be limping the center.
And Rogia, I tell you, he's just a sophomore. You know, we got to give him some credit for being in there. He's just a sophomore among the big boys, and he's done a fairly steady job, and he's getting on-the-job training.
Trying to keep the tabs on Johnson's yardage. He has had 100 yards or close to 100 yards average in the first 2 games. He'd like to keep that, I'm sure.
Well, with the penalty, the ball's at the East Brunswick 49. Here's Johnson again. Finds the hole. Flag is thrown. Great running by Varnell Johnson. And another flag there on a late hit.
Well, if it was against East Brunswick, they're offset now.
And we're seeing a little
getting a little messy
extracurricular
here.
activity on both sides.
Yeah, that's what it's resorted to, and I think it started with a potential late hit on Kobalakowicz on that last series, and I think that's the defense for Woodbridge thinks it's payback time now.
Holding call against East Brunswick, personal foul against Woodbridge.
Against Woodbridge.
So we should do it all over again.
Personal foul against Woodbridge. Next week on Friday night they play.
And they'll bring it back. That's offsetting.
Away. Next week is Madison Central away.
Well, we hear the speaker that Woodbridge will be at Madison Central next week, and the Bears will
host Edison.
Ooh.
Yes, that's a big ooh.
Next Friday night.
A lot of people are tabbing the Eagles as being the class of the Red Division, and the team that you're seeing tonight, beating East Brunswick 26-7, lost to Edison 37-14. So that tells you a little bit about what the quality Edison might present.
And they say it's up front. They say it's the line. Both sides of the line for Edison.
Well, it appears that the personal foul, I guess they mark off both penalties, and quite honestly, I don't know what they did. But they're saying that East Brunswick has a 1st and 1? I'm not sure. This is Phillips.
Oh.
Phil, this young man's got to learn to run low.
Got to get a little bit lower. You're right, John.
And they'll say it's 2nd and 1.
Unfortunately, that fine run by Johnson is negated by those penalties, so he still has a couple of yards to go before he can. I only have him with about 65 yards, so he needs to go more for his 100.
Joe Dudek initially making that tackle, holding him up for the rest of the Barron defense.
Ball at the Woodbridge 42-yard line. Pitch to Johnson. And another flag.
Flag on the play.
Boy, look at that hard running, huh?
I'll tell you.
Phil, how much does Varnell Johnson actually weigh?
Good question.
I know what it is.
Maybe 160?
Nope. When I did a story at the beginning of the season for the paper, I was getting these strange weights by Marcus Borden when he was going over, and he listed Varnell Johnson as 148 pounds. And I said, do you want to pump that up a little, Coach? And he says, no, that's his true weight.
Well, I'll tell you, he's playing like he's 248 out there.
I find it hard to believe that he's 148 pounds. I got to believe he's in the 170s.
He certainly runs like it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, the flag against East Brunswick will move them back. And the clock running with 7 minutes left in the game. 2nd down and a bunch for East Brunswick as the ball rests just shy of their own 40-yard line. Johnson's going to throw. He's looking for Cartwright, and not that time.
No over the back, neither.
That was Mormon.
So it'll bring up 3rd down.
He certainly is a spirited player tonight.
So that was 3rd down.
So that play worked once tonight, but they were ready for it this time.
And we have a timeout. Official.
You're right, Jim. They have him listed in the program as 5'9", 148 pounds. I just find that hard to believe.
Oh, I don't know what they're doing here.
They may be talking about the public address announcer.
All right. Okay. 3rd down and 20 from the 39.
A lot of real estate to cover here. 3rd and 20.
What
do we got?
Yeah, the official wasn't ready. You got to wait till he's ready now. So this game is really dragging out, quite honestly, between penalties and sloppy play.
Lots of flags.
3rd and 20. Ball at the East Brunswick 39. Barrick He'll roll left.
He passes.
He's got a man and dropped.
No good.
Ball intended for Brian
Number
Cavalli.
4, Cavalli.
Now a fourth
So
down.
third down and 20.
I think that was a third down.
A holding against Woodbridge
Oh,
is
well,
the call.
That's an automatic first down, is it not?
I believe so.
And Brian Cavalli slipped on that, but he's got to learn to look that ball in. Those are the kinds that got to be caught.
Head ball foul.
This is a tough one for the Bears.
Third and 9.
3rd and 9, ball right at midfield. After the penalty, Varick looking,
Passes.
throwing for Phillips.
Was not an
Ball
automatic
was
first
high.
down.
And now it brings up the 4th down.
I see Phil has his 1991 edition of football rules with him. We could look in there and find a lot of differences between
Fourth down and 9.
rules that we see on television, from watching college and pros, versus what we see here. Now, the defensive holding would have been an automatic first down. That was not the case.
Okay, big 4th down, just for continuity's sake.
Oh, boy. And a timeout by the officials. So 6:13 remaining in the game. It'll be 4th and 9 for East Brunswick. The ball right at midfield. They trail 26-7.
Gonna go for it.
And Varick again looking over the middle. Finally hits Phillips. First down.
That is a first down.
57 makes the stop.
Kind of wonder where that play's been all night. You want to get the ball in his hands as well.
And they move the clock.
First down in Woodbridge territory. Ball spotted at the Woodbridge 38. 5:50 remaining.
First down for them on the 37-yard line. Back to pass.
Phillips. I'm sorry, Varela.
Right. Nice gain.
First down.
Phil, another name we haven't mentioned who has been sorely missed has been Brian Tenora.
No doubt about it. One of the top flight receivers and more importantly, one of the real top flight defenders for him.
Yeah, they really do miss Brian Tenora.
Another first down for East Brunswick.
Goes down on the 20.
Ball spotted at Woodbridge's 23.
First and 10.
Varick looking.
Whoa.
Drops the ball, catches it.
That's that slippery ball.
He could still have thrown it if he wanted.
Well,
Guess you figured one shot, and if it doesn't work, do the safe thing.
it was the pattern that was run. It was a timing pattern.
So Varick picks up nearly 2. We'll call it 2nd and 8.
Okay, the Bears haven't given up, and we certainly like to see them score here.
Guard still at quarter.
Ball just shy of the Woodbridge 20.
Taken by
Varela
Stood up.
So it'll be 3rd and 8.
And John Holder, linebacker, in on the tackle there, not letting Varela go.
Third down.
Well, they give Varela 2 yards. Let's call it 3rd and 6 with 4:40 left. Varick looking over the middle. He's got Phillips. And
He
he
was
kind of
open.
laid it up.
I'll tell you, Phillips wide open.
He was open.
All you have to do is put it there.
Jim, this loss conceivably damages East Brunswick in terms of power points.
Well, I don't even think anyone's even entertaining any notion as far as power points or even looking at the playoffs. I think the important thing was to get the win tonight. I don't think there's any notion that East Brunswick is a playoff team this year. I think they've showed that the first 2 games. Marcus Borden would not admit that, but there's that
There's
pass.
Phillips, same play.
And it doesn't look like he's going to get it. It's close, but I don't think he has enough.
Well, I think
Nope.
he's short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So East Brunswick will turn the ball over on that. But this loss brings their record to 0-3, and it's the outlook for next week certainly is not good. Playing Edison, they're going to be playing conceivably the toughest game of the year next week.
No doubt about it, and I think you're right, Jim.
It's going to be a tough game.
0-3, and certainly possibly looking at 0-4.
Right.
And so thoughts got to go to trying to get a winning season at least, and that may be very difficult.
The fact of the matter is, this is the first time I can remember since covering East Brunswick that they have ever been in this type of position where they're just looking to get a win on the board.
Marcus Borden coach team has never been 0-3, best in my recollection.
Ball's on the ground. East Brunswick has it at the 10.
There you go.
And
So they get another shot.
A little bit
That was a
too
new
much too
quarterback.
late.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Kobolakowicz
Now Barton
was in.
fumbled it.
and
Yeah.
number 28 for the Bears.
East Brunswick ball. First and
No
10.
28 that we have
First and
listed.
goal from the 5-yard, from the 10-yard line.
Well, East Brunswick will have it at the Woodbridge 10, first and goal.
Okay, it was must have been Bob Varela on the recovery there.
Right.
3:10 remaining in the game. Bears trailing 26-7. And timeout Woodbridge.
Timeout, Woodbridge. Timeout, Woodbridge.
Well, they're sort of very serious about keeping East Brunswick out of the end zone by evidenced by that timeout.
Unless they're looking for a player.
And you see Marcus out on the field, and you can bet your bottom dollar he wants this score.
Sure.
He's looking for any edge he can get, and trying to keep his players up. And
Yeah, it is a little stunning to to be in a position of watching an East Brunswick team just sort of struggle to get its act together offensively and defensively. Admittedly, I think they have some games on the schedule this year that are certainly winnable. No doubt about it. Really, West Windsor is a Group 3 team, and we don't know too much about them. But East Brunswick's been able to handle them fairly well during the season. And
Don't forget next week on Friday night it's Madison Central.
of course, the last game of the season is against Saraville, and Saraville might be a little tough this year. We'll find out tonight. They're playing Madison Central.
All right, 2:58 remaining. Bears from the Woodbridge 10, looking to put one in here. Barrett quickly to Johnson,
Is he going to throw it again?
trying to find a blocker and won't find it.
just a host of tacklers, and I tell you, that's what you want to guard against, standing them up, and somebody took a shot at his legs.
Right.
Mormon.
Jason Moorman, one of the first ones in the backfield.
Johnson lost about 3 yards. So it'll be second and 13.
On the 15-yard line.
Ball just shy of the Woodbridge 15.
My apologies.
Clock down to 2:15. Barrick looks over the middle, looks for Johnson. Pass behind him.
Almost had it.
No good. Third down
Timing's just off.
from the 15.
It'll be third and 15 when the Bears come over the ball.
And let's see if they go for Mike Matthews on this.
Third from the 15.
Barrick looking over the middle, intercepted. Just a matter of time, I thought. And out to the 10-yard line.
So they
The
snuffed that
interception
opportunity.
by John Holder.
Very good.
Holder's been active. I've been watching him tonight. He's been offensively and defensively.
Intercepted that pass. So it's first down for Woodbridge.
So we're inside 2 minutes now.
10-yard line.
Woodbridge. Take their time. No need to hurry to the line of scrimmage. They have it at their own 10.
Clock is running.
Going on.
Barton.
Taken by Barton.
He'll pick up 3.
And
2nd and 7.
Yeah, somebody's down. Looks like a leg.
And I'll tell you, if you're a coach at this stage of the game, you hate to see anyone go down.
Alessio is down, number 55. Was hurt on that last play. Alessio.
This game's going near 2.5 hours.
Okay, down is Nick D'Alessio, number 89, tight end and defensive end as well. And he's the first stringer. So you certainly hate to lose him. You hate to lose anyone, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Oh, and he's hurting. As you look at him lying down in the field there, you see the trainer out there. And you see a young lady out there, number 86, which brings me around to Marcus told me that one of the young ladies that worked in his office, Stacy Snitzer, is now at Purdue University and a part of the recruiting coordinator for Purdue University. So Marcus just doesn't send players on to play ball in college, but to do other things as well. And we like to salute Stacy.
Probably the first East Brunswick player to go to, well, John Walling went to Purdue.
Yes, he did.
For a while.
Transferred to Rutgers.
Yeah.
Good memory, John.
Okay, and they're carrying D'Alessio off, and
wow.
Looks like he's
There'll be a meeting for
he's
the
going to be out for a while.
And cheerleaders at the high school Tuesday evening. Please, football players.
All right, we're ready to resume action with 1:15.
Okay.
Clock ticking down. East Brunswick's record will fall to 0-3. Woodbridge's record will even out at 1-1.
Second down and 8.
2nd and 8.
Taken by
Barton, who's been the workhorse on the ground,
What is he
finds a
doing?
crack and goes out of bounds.
After first down.
Pushed out of bounds at around the 35-yard
And I'll
line.
tell you, if you're looking at a Woodbridge team and you want it, and they're obviously developing, I think they want to create a little bit more balance. They have a runner like Barton. I think they want to maybe just create some more balance between their passing game, and that would make them a much better team.
Well, with the one loss, you had mentioned that Salento is enthusiastic about trying to win the rest of his games. Why not? They're certainly have not shown that they are not a playoff type of team. Now they go down on a knee.
Well, I would think, just quickly glancing at the Woodbridge schedule with 43 seconds and clock ticking, Madison Central and Stevens may be their last 2 toughest tests.
Second down.
Well, we'll have to see. We talked about that little team from Saraville. And,
Yeah, that's true.
And it is an up-and-coming program. They beat Perth Amboy last week. And
Here we go.
since Sal Mastretta has taken over at Saraville, it's a much different program.
And a clock down to 15 seconds, and that should do it.
Right, that is going to do it.
Seconds to the end of the game. 10 seconds. 9.
And the crowd,
Still not cheering.
Nope.
they finally realized
Let's
the end
listen.
is near.
Okay, you finally get a chair.
Yep.
And our final is Woodbridge 26, East Brunswick 7.
Maybe they're glad the game's over.
And the teams come across to greet one another.
Oh, gosh. It was a tough evening for East Brunswick, all the way around, really.
And you see Marcus Borden, he's always the first one out on the field there, and that shows some class. Again, the GMC president, and I don't think he likes losing it any more now than he did before, but he certainly seems to have mellowed out a whole lot.
Yes,
gentlemen.
he has. And you see him there talking with Mike Salento. Certainly somewhat different than I remember a couple of instances a couple of years ago when there was a nice heated argument going on between the two. But I think I think Marcus knows what he has in this team as far as objectives are concerned. He has to establish their respectability now amongst themselves. I think they're feeling very, very down right now, and wondering, what is it going to take to win a game. You can't take Woodbridge lightly, and they certainly didn't tonight, but they didn't have enough to pull it off. So it is an extremely disappointing loss.
Well, he's going to have to do one of his tougher coaching jobs this year, and I think he recognizes that. And the young fellows, as he says, they haven't given up. I mean, to put it bluntly, it comes down to horses. Yeah. And this year they don't quite have as many horses as they have in the past. And some of the younger fellows are going to have to develop. Marcus hasn't given up on them, and he's not going to let them give up on themselves. So What can you say?
Yeah, one other thing I think we should mention, if you want to look at a situation that's somewhat similar right now, just look at Madison Central. For years, a perennial winner, and then last year they had to go all the way to the end of the season, the last game, to pick up their one victory. So things run in cycles, and just because you see East Brunswick not experiencing the best of times right now does not mean that they can't turn it around even this year, and certainly not. I mean, the program is with a great coaching staff like that, and with a good pool of players to draw on. I don't think East Brunswick fans should despair with what's happening right now.
John, I mentioned character early in the game, and character, when you really find out, anyone can have character when you're winning.
Right.
When you really find out about character when things aren't going so well.
Right.
And on that note, I do want to urge the East Brunswick fans to come out this coming Friday night. Edison will be the opponent. We'll at home. These young men certainly can use your encouragement. It's going to be a tough game. Everyone knows that. But stranger things have happened. Again, our final from Prisco Stadium is Woodbridge 26, East Brunswick 7. And so for Phil Hill and Jim Allinder, I'm John Meggiolaro saying thanks for being with us.